Hey there, CGMath students, and welcome to homework 2.14, adding and subtracting rational numbers. So remember, there are two rules for adding. Those would be SSAK, same sign to add, keep, and DSSM, different signs, subtract more. Now, there's one rule for subtraction, and that's basically you want to, if you see a subtraction sign, you want a KCC to change it to one of these SSAK or DSSM. So first section says, first change all subtraction to adding the opposite by using KCC, then use the commutative property to find the sum. So we go through here, we see, is there any subtraction? I see two subtraction signs, one there and one there. This is obviously a negative sign. So keep, change, change, keep, change, change, so plus a negative. And then here, keep, change, change, plus a negative. All right, so our new problem then, if I write it out, is 7 plus negative 1 plus negative 11 plus negative 12. Here we have nothing but SSAK, right? Same signs, add, keep. So I'll say 11 plus 12 plus 1. When I add those up, I get 24, but remember, keep the sign, so it's negative 24. So my new problem is negative 24 plus 7. And this is a DSSM, right? Different sign, subtract. So I want to do 24 minus 7. Need to borrow. So that becomes a 1. This becomes a 14. And with the 17. But remember, I have more negatives. DSSM, more negatives. So negative 17 is my answer, D. It's a little bit confusing. I'd pause and try and do number 2 exactly like I did number 1. And number 3, I want a KCC first. This is a negative, a plus sign, so that locks this in. This is a negative, a minus sign. So here's where I do the KCC. Keep, change, change. So keep, change, change. And then on top of this, again, since I have a minus sign, I'm going to keep, change, change. Keep the positive 3 after we've changed it to exactly that, plus a negative. So basically, you're always going to do two things with the subtraction sign. It's either going to become plus a negative or become plus a positive, right? So you can never just change the subtraction sign to a plus sign and say I'm done. All right, so now let's rewrite this problem. We have negative 1 plus negative 5 plus positive 3 plus negative 4. So using commutative property, I can say negative 1 plus negative 5 plus negative 4 plus 3. I can add all these guys up using same sign, add, keep, right? 1 plus 5 plus 4, that's 10. But keep the negative, so that's negative 10, and then plus 3, and that's DSSM, so different sign, subtract. Basically, I'm doing 10 minus 3. Obviously, that gives you 7, but remember, I had more negatives, so negative 7. D is your answer. All right, I'll help you out with KCC over here. So there's a plus sign, so that locks those guys in here. Here's the minus sign, so you're going to keep that first one exactly the same, plus a positive, and then there's no minus signs anymore, so you can rewrite that one. Number 5, keep, change, change. So keep it, change, change, and then again, so keep, change, change, keep it, change, change, and then again, so keep negative 12, change, change, plus positive. So basically, again, every minus sign either becomes plus negative or plus positive. That's how you basically work it. I know this KCC kind of looks confusing up top because there's multiple levels and all that stuff, but every minus sign it becomes plus positive or plus negative. So if I write this out, it's negative 6 plus 4 plus negative 12 plus 6. So let's use commutative property and say negative 6 plus negative 12 plus 4 plus positive 6. You can use SSAK twice here, once on the negatives, once on the positives. I get negative 18 plus positive 10, right? 6 plus 12 is 18, but keep the sign. 4 plus 6 is 10. It's just positive. So then I get 18 minus 10 because those are different signs, so I subtract them. 8 is my answer, but I had more negatives, so negative 8. B is your answer. Right here again, keep, change, change, keep it, change, change. No other minus signs. You're good to go on that one. All right. So now working with decimals, I want to keep, change, change, keep, change, change. I have nothing but negatives here, so I'm just going to add them up. 1.5 plus 2.4 plus 0.2. Add it up. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11, carry your 1. 1 and 1 is 2, plus 2, 4.1. But remember, it was an SSAK problem. Yes, write this down. So I keep my sign. So a negative 4.1 D. Right? Next one. Plus sign stays the same. Oh, there we go. There's a minus sign. So I say plus negative or plus positive. In this case, it's plus positive. So if I wrote this out, it'd be negative 4.3 plus 7.5 plus 6.5. So obviously I want to add the two positives first. Don't have to, but it might just be easier for us. 7.5 plus 6.5. That's 10, carry your 1. It's 13 plus 1 is 14. So 14, don't forget your decimal. So now it's basically becomes 14 minus 4.3. Why am I doing that? Because they're different signs. I have a positive 14 and a negative 4.3. I put decimal 0 here. I've lined up all my decimals. I need to borrow, making this a 3 and this a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 4 I can't do, but I can do 13 minus 4, and that's 9, 9.7. I have more positives, so that's why the answer is B, 9.7 and not negative 9.7. Let's help you out with the subtraction here. So plus a negative, and then here that's a negative sign, so don't do anything to that. But here's a minus sign, plus a negative, right? So when you're working with these problems, you'll probably want to say 7.1 plus negative 3.4 plus, negative 3.4 plus negative 4.3. You'll probably want to add up the negatives first this time. And that will be negative 7.7, right? And then you'll have negative 7.7 plus 7.1, so you're going to want to subtract those two, right? And on this one, 5.8 plus negative 3.1 plus negative 3.63, again, you'll want to add up the negatives first, lining up the decimals, fill in that with a 0, and that will give you negative 6.3, so negative 6.73 plus 5.8. Again, you're going to want to subtract those two, adding up the negatives. Sorry, I wrote that kind of sloppy, so I'll rewrite again. Again, that's DSSM, so we'll subtract those. All right, now with fractions. So we need to make sure we find common denominators, or we need to borrow. So here we're going to split these. 2 and 1/7 is positive 2 and positive 1/7. So negative 8 plus 2 plus 1/7. This is a DSSM right here. Gives us negative 6 plus 1/7. And I can't do this. I can't just slap them together because this is negative and this is positive. So I borrow one whole and make this negative 5 plus negative 7/7 plus 1/7. Right? So what did I do again? I took the negative 6, I borrowed one whole, so negative 5 is the 1, and then negative 7/7, looking at that denominator, is that one that I borrowed, made sure it was negative. So what is my answer? It's negative 5, and then negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6/7, and negative 5 plus negative 6/7 is just negative 5 and 6/7. So D is your answer. Let's do another one on the back. So negative 4 plus negative 2 plus negative 1/7. This is SSAK, excuse me, sorry. SSAK. So I say negative 6 plus negative 1/7. They're the same sign. So since they're the same sign, you just get to slap them together. 6 and 1/7, but make sure you put the negative sign. Right, so B is your answer on that one. On 14, you don't get to do that. You have negative 2 plus 4 plus 2/7. But look what happens on 14. This is a DSSM, right? But I'm left with positive 2 when I do 4 minus 2, 2 plus 2/7. And because those are both positive, just like those are both negative, you just get to slap them together. So you get 2 and 2/7. So A on that one. All right, number 15, I got 2 and 3/4, and then minus negative, so plus positive, plus 3 and 1/6. So this becomes, we'll say 2 plus 3, putting the whole numbers together, plus 3/4 plus 1/6. So this is obviously 5 plus, let me find common denominator, say times 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. That becomes 9 over 12 plus 2 over 12, which equals 11 over 12. So your answer is 5 plus 11 over 12, or just 5 and 11/12. So A. All right. And number 17, again, we want to say there's a minus sign, so plus negative. So negative 7 over 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 1/2. Basically, we want to be adding negative 7 over 4 plus negative 1/2 plus negative 4. Finding common denominators here by multiplying by 2. And so I get negative 7 over 4 plus negative 2 over 4 plus negative 4. This is negative 9 over 4 because negative 7, negative 2, that's an SSAK, plus negative 4. And I'd love to slap those together, but that's an improper fraction, right? So let's figure out what this is. So 4 goes into 9 2 times with 1 left over. So that's 2 1/4. But remember, this was negative, so it's negative 2 1/4. So basically you're adding, negative 2 1/4 plus negative 4, which equals negative 6 1/4. So A. Pretty tricky on that one, I know. 18 is actually super simple. I was kind to you. Negative 3 plus negative 1/7 plus negative 3 plus negative 5/7. Now that they're split apart, hopefully you should be able to figure out how that works. Now for 19 and 20, I want you to hopefully notice the additive inverse. So plus a positive, plus a negative, plus a positive, and that's it. So here we'll say negative 2 plus negative 2. Sorry, it's not the additive inverse. Plus positive 2 1/4. This gives you negative 4 plus 2 1/4. Negative 4 plus positive 2. That's going to give you negative 2 plus a positive 1/4. And then, of course, you got to borrow. So if I wrote this here, negative 2 plus positive 1/4, that's negative 1 plus negative 4/4, right? I got that from there, plus 1/4. That's negative 1 plus a negative 4 plus a positive 1 is negative 3/4. So those get slapped together, negative 1 3/4. B. All right, so this is a tricky homework. Call me if you have questions.